75% of properties that were just inherited sell within the first 90 days of new ownership. That is just a fact across the board, across the country. So what we're talking about today on this live show is probate, how to find these probate properties, not even probate, pre-probate. We'll get into that in just a second. But inherited properties, properties that go through probate. What is probate? Getting really, whenever I thought about probate, it was like a mystery to me. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand why the courts have to get involved with property ownership and what happens here. The fact is, most people, towards the end of their life, what they do is they either sell their property to get the built up equity and appreciation that they have in there for living expenses, and they don't just pass away owning real estate, most people, or they pass away and there's somebody else, a spouse, or somebody else that they've deeded the property to that's within the family that owns the property. And so it doesn't have to go through the court process. But sometimes unexpected deaths, sometimes people that just don't have family members that they can deed the property to, some people that just don't even know what the process is, that's what ends up in the hands of the probate courts. And what probate courts essentially do is they just make sure that there is a personal representative that is responsible for taking the ownership of that property. And then if there's a will, if somebody wrote out a will that we all kind of know about, we all are kind of familiar with, as you get older in life, you start putting together your wills and start putting together what you want to do with the assets that you have. But even when you have a will, the court goes in and makes sure that somebody doesn't just go in and just take everything from the will, and then it turns into a big legal battle amongst family. And so what happens is when somebody passes away and it goes into the probate courts, you file the death certificate, and then it goes into the probate courts. They make sure that everything that is in alignment with that will, or if there isn't a will, they put somebody in charge of the assets, gets dispersed according to what the rules are in the will or what the court says is appropriate. And 75% of the people that go through that process sell the property within 90 days, because most people, when they inherit property, don't have the financial means to fix up properties. They don't have they don't have the intention of owning it as a rental property, because they're not landlords. They just want to get on with their life. They want to get the money in and split it up amongst the family so that there's not a lot of infighting, which sometimes can turn ugly. And so that's what probate is. Probate is essentially just the court saying, hey, listen, here's a piece of property, and this is what's going to happen to it right now. This is what's going to happen to it once there's new ownership of that. I hope that's not confusing. I hope I try to simplify that as much as possible. And I'm going to give you some tools for finding these properties, and then we're going to really get in with the incredible and backed by extremely popular demand, Ryan Thornton, my acquisition manager, is going to talk about how to approach probate or people that inherit properties through the probate process, which is, I think, the biggest part of this show, the biggest part of really understanding. We could get the lists. We can get that information. It's public data. We can get it through some companies that filter the public data so we don't have to do a lot of the legwork. But really, what are the conversations? How do we make offers to the people when they're going through this process? Because it's much different. And the approach has to be a lot gentler, and there has to be a lot more empathy to it. But let me give you 3 tools for finding probate so that you can go out there and do this. I have students that all they do is probates, and they make $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year just off of doing probate deals. All right. And the 3 main tools are these. Number 1, the one that we use, is US Leads List. Now, US Leads List is only available to a certain amount of people in certain markets. It's an incredible service. If you use TTP or tell them Rhino or something, maybe you could skip to the front of the line, or maybe you can get your territory. because they're really good friends of the Rhino tribe, and Micah, the owner of the property, the owner of the company, is actually in the Rhino tribe, which is awesome. But U.S. Leads List has been around for forever. It's been really tough to get that list. It's been sold out in a lot of markets, but if you can get your hands on it, make sure that you do, and make sure that Micah knows that I sent you. Number 2 is Probates Daily. Probates Daily is phenomenal. They do an incredible job of making sure that they filter through all of the probate filings and making sure that there's real property, like real estate, attached to those probates. And then the third one is All the Leads. All the Leads is very good as well. And all those guys have training on how to communicate. They have different, if you want to do direct mail, they have direct mail that you can send out that's really effective. They do a lot of training on how to make sure that you're communicating effectively with those property owners. But they're a company, you know what I mean? They know based on their clients' reactions. I'm going to give it to you straight with Ryan Thornton here in just a minute. Then he's going to explain what the best way to go about having those conversations and pre-qualifying and making sure you're doing effective lead follow-up, and when in the process is the right time to initiate that conversation. Because sometimes the earlier you get there, the better. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's just a leveraging tool that they use to get more offers and to kind of get a baseline of how much they can get for the property while they're going through the courts. And sometimes going through the courts can be 30, 60, 90 days before the new ownership is taken into effect. And in that time, they can receive a lot of offers, a lot of people coming at them with a lot of different opinions on the value. So U.S. Leads List, Probates Daily, All the Leads, phenomenal tools for you to be able to go there and use. But once you have that information, once you have that phone number, once you have that lead, Ryan, welcome to the show. How do you approach these property owners, because they're going through a very difficult time?
First of all, I'd like to say Brent could prepare me for the topic for each time we come on, but he doesn't. I show up and he's like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And he likes to just completely surprise me.
That's right.
So probate's awesome. And you're right. When people inherit these properties, most of the time they just want it off their plate. They want to get as much value as they can out of it, and they want to be done. But timing is really, really important, because you need to know where they are at in the process of probate. Mm-hmm. You don't want to talk about numbers too early, because it could be 3 months down the road. So you're really just being there as a resource, being like, hey, where are you at in this process of probate? Where are you at? What have they told you? And what is the timing looking like? And then from there, you just want to make sure that you're following up really effectively. Now, if they say, you know what? Yeah, we're at the very tail end of this. They said that we can make a decision. We are ready to sell by next week or whatever it is, and that timeline is short, then you're really asking those questions as far as, all right, well, during this time, what research have you done to estimate the value of your home? You know, that whole process, probate aside, that whole process of getting information about what their goals are, what they want to sell the place for, and when they want to make the decision. So find out, what's the value of the home? And then you kind of get down to the nitty gritty of things as far as who's helping you make this decision. And a lot of times there are a lot of people involved. Mm-hmm. And I never want to talk to just one of them. I want everyone to be on the same page as me, because if you talk to one person, they're going to go talk to the other brother who wants way more money than it's worth. And they're the ones just kind of just digging holes and putting holes in the conversation you're having with the person making the decision. But are they really making the decision? Probably not. So my goal is always to get everybody on the same page. One Zoom call, let's figure it out. Let's see who needs what the concerns are, so I can knock it out right off the table, and then really kind of get down to it. Because everybody knows, we ask, like, hey, who else is helping you make this decision? Mm-hmm. How many times have we heard, oh, well, I need to talk to my wife, or, oh, my cousin's a realtor, I need to talk to him. Like, hey, let's get them on the phone, and let's just get done once and for all, so we don't have to go back and forth of who needs what and who thinks it's estimated at this, and so on and so forth.
First of all, Ryan, this audience wants authenticity, all right? They don't want you prepared. They don't want you polished. Yeah. They don't want you knowing the topic. They just want you to come out. They want you to come right out. No hesitation.
No, I think you just do it to mess with me. That's all.
Well, I think the first filter, or the first thing that you have to discover is, do they actually want to sell?
Right.
Have they made the decision? Has the family made the decision that they're going to sell this property? And then from there, you're right. It could be 90 days. It could be 6 months in some areas to go through the probate process. And you truly don't know the values because values are fluctuating right now.
Right.
Values are always going up and down. And if you give a price now and the market goes down, which we saw in the back half of last year and the first part of this year, then you're setting expectations way too high, and you have to go in and you have to start dissolving those expectations so that you can get to a price that will actually cause it to sell.
Right. You don't want to be backpedaling off a number that you gave too early.
Mm-hmm.
That just it adds tension to the conversation. It's just not necessary. So only talking price when they can actually make a decision is what's important.
Do you feel like people are more sensitive going through the probate process or an inherited process, or most of the people, you know what, they're facing reality. They understand that they have to do something here. Maybe they're overwhelmed, but is it any different than any other list?
Not particularly. I mean, you are really kind of asking the same questions. And unless they bring it up, I'm not even touching on the topic of why they inherited this property. It's just, hey, you have this going on. What are your goals with the place?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do to help? And then you kind of go from there. Yeah. But if depending on like the sensitivity of it all, they have a property. We're obviously talking to them for a reason, and then just assessing what the process is going to look like for them.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, it's just going through the regular lead follow-up sequence.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, are you trying to get an appointment right off the bat with them? Are you trying to get face-to-face with people, even though you're not going to be able to give them an offer? Even if they tell you it's going to be 90 days before the court, everything's through the courts and they actually have their name on the deed. Are you meeting with them, or are you just doing it through the phone?
I particularly like to be the first face
Mm-hmm.
that a homeowner sees, especially if it's going to be a long process, mainly because this is kind of it got dumped in their lap, right? And they are overwhelmed most of the time. And I like to be there as a beacon, right? Of resource and hope. And like, hey, I'm sure you've never gone through this before. If you ever need anything, if you want me to help you with the process, if you have questions you want to bounce off of me, here I am. And so getting that face-to-face is really important because it sinks in a little more than just being another voice on the phone.
Yeah. Number one is be a resource for them. If they need help with whatever, they need help with contractors or landscapers, or they need junk removal, or they need somebody to rekey the property and a locksmith. They need somebody to help them to make sure that mail doesn't pile up in the mailbox and everything gets taken care of there. Have a process for being able to help out people in those situations, and you do become a resource. Whether or not you buy it or not, it doesn't matter. You're out there serving people that are going through a really tough time, and that always is going to, one, I mean, it's just good for your soul, but two, I think you're going to get the opportunity to at least give them an offer and at least be heard out.
Right. And you bring up a good point. Like, so there are a lot of things that people don't think about throughout the process. A vacant house that nobody's living in, all of these things, a mail in the mailbox, like that's not something that they would initially go, oh, I need to take care of that. So this list of things that they want to think about, like that's helpful. That is so helpful. And you're remembered for that. So, I mean, have a list, literally. You're going and talking to a probate lead, have a list of all the things that they should probably think about having this newly owned vacant house and the things that could be happening with it.
What happens when you've got somebody that wants to sell the property and they're realistic on price, and then you have the brother that is like, I want Zillow, but the property's destroyed? You know what I mean? How do you...
That's why I like to talk to everybody at once. And then a lot of times, like there've been a few times where I talk to the person who's realistic, but then they go, oh, well, James, he does this and this. Listen, I need James's phone number. James and I need to have a conversation. I'm going to do the best I can to let him know, what we do. And this is this thing I say all the time. I will never tell you what to sell your house for. I can only tell you what makes sense to us. And a lot of times it's just educating people, because you get in.
Why do you say that?
Well, because you're not going to change anybody's mind, right? And so they have this thing in their head, like, oh, I looked on Zillow, or my neighbor down the street sold it for, $500,000, and that's what they want. But the comps are different and all those things. And so it's like, listen, hey, I'm just here to be a resource. If we can work together, great, awesome. If my value and what makes sense to you align, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to go and you want to, try out the numbers and all this, and hey, go for it. I'll be here as a resource, and I'll be here if anything changes.
I'm never going to tell you what to sell your house for. I'm just going to tell you what makes sense to us.
Exactly.
Incredible. Guys, listen, that basically what that boils down to is we're deal finders, not deal creators. Okay? You're not going to convince anybody. One, you're not going to convince people to sell. So that's the first thing that you have to discover. Have people made the decision that they're going to actually sell the property? It sounds fundamental, but I can't tell you how many times when I was starting out, I was trying to pitch people on why right now is the best time to sell, and right, and it never works. And trust me, I mean, I've coached thousands of people around the country. When you get started, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having a good conversation with a property owner. How do I convince them to sell? You don't. So deal finders, not deal creators. You need to find the people that have made the decision that they no longer want to own this property for whatever reason, whether it be probate or inherited, whether it be pre-foreclosure, whether it be a tired landlord, whether it be behind on taxes or they can't keep up with the property, whatever it is, divorce situation, doesn't matter.
The moment you start trying to convince someone to sell your house is the moment your negotiation power goes away.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Why?
Because if you're trying to tell someone, hey, you should sell your house, then why would they decrease their price?
Uh-huh.
I should sell it right now. I should sell it. Oh, okay. Because the market's hot. Okay. Well, then give me what I want.
Right. Or more.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to give me what I want? Well, then I'm not selling my house. Right. It's just, I
get this question a lot, Ryan, which is I talked to this property owner and they said, well, if I sold this house, where am I going to move to? And I'm like, they haven't made the decision that they're going to sell the property.
Right.
Like people that have made the decision either don't live in that house or have made plans to already move somewhere else.
Exactly.
There's not some magic thing that you're like, well, what's your dream location that you're going to live in? And they're like, oh, I'd love to live in Hawaii. Well, then move to Hawaii. Well, I can't afford Hawaii. Well, move there anyway.
Right.
It's just not practical.
And it's
spend time with people.
Yeah. And it's time. You're spending time on these conversations where people aren't going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you can validate and qualify the best. Like, well, would you sell within the next 3 to 6 months?
Yep.
Okay. Well, what would you do during that time? Well, where would you go? Oh, I don't know. Okay. Well, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's, and listen, this is what you do all day long. Your job is really, well, you go and close it. It's really Chad's job all day long is seeing who's made the decision that they're actually going to sell, shortening the timeline, and then it goes to you. How many appointments do you have today?
3.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
3 today.
You know how many we're going to close? Lock up?
Yeah.
3.
4. No.
4.
That's
them
awesome.
and the neighbor.
Yeah. That is awesome. Well, let's crack this open. We've been going for about 20 minutes. Let's crack this open. Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. live show where we know that finding discounted property is the most proven path to financial freedom. I'm your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and trust me, if I could do it, so can you. I am the dumbest millionaire that you will know. I am telling you there. I'm just telling you. But real estate is the most proven path. And this show is really, we break it down into 4 parts. Number 1, we want to give you the tools and tactics to be able to go and implement right now so that you can go and find some incredible opportunities. Number 2, we want to answer your questions, whatever challenges that you're going through, whatever you're running into, we want to answer those questions. All right. Number 3 is for you to squat up in the comments section, treat this like a networking event. Right. And number 4 is we want to celebrate you. I want to ring this victory bell. I don't care if you've talked to your first property owner or you closed $1 million deal today, or if you're Dimitri Von Kamp, who's on the beach closing deals right now. We want to celebrate you. There he is. Look at this. 2 probate. Look at this. Dimitri, locking up deals from the coastline of Africa. Have a probate deal closing this week. $38K after paying the attorney and 2 realtors.
Bam. Bam.
That is what I'm talking about. The most proven path to financial freedom. Absolutely incredible.
Awesome.
And I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you today. Do more than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
Do more than you thought that you could. Like push it 1 extra call, one extra conversation, right? This whole business comes down to 1, conversations, 2, making offers. From there, everything else, you can squat up with somebody that's a few steps ahead of you, get things done, and get paid. But out of the air, out of the ether, you can pull out incredible amounts of income if you are having quality conversations with distressed property owners and making offers. That's it. That's all this business comes down to. I have this substitute personal trainer at the gym, LaDarren, and Johnny, my trainer, had his daughter, beautiful baby.
Nice.
And so he's taken some time off, a few months off. And LaDarren was homeless at 19, living on a park bench in North Carolina, got recruited to be in the Marines, became the Marines' like #1 heavyweight boxer, right? Just this crazy story, right? Trainer, boxer, entrepreneur, he's doing all these things. We're doing these goofy ab things where you go on your side, you put your arm down, you put your leg on a bench, and you have to hold it there for 20 seconds, and it's just like,
those
and
obliques.
he's like, dig deeper, find a reason. There's always a reason. Dig deeper, and that made sense to me. And that's, if you put that into your daily efforts when it comes to growing your real estate business, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
You got to push the extra mile. Just like L.A. Mars said, let's go. Absolutely.
Go. Yeah.
With not 1, not 2, not 3, 4, 5, not 6 or 7, but 8 fires.
8 fires.
8
That's
fires
how
right
serious
That's how
this
serious
is.
L.A. Mars is. But seriously, push it the extra mile today. Just do it. Just see what your threshold is. See what your endurance is. See how far you can push today. You got this. You're one conversation away from an unbelievable opportunity. Ryan has locked up in the last 30 days. It's got to be $500,000 worth of deals.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close.
Minimum. Pretty close on the low end.
Pretty close, yeah.
I mean, it's just we're pushing hard over here, and we want to encourage you to push hard over there. Hello, Mello. Hello, Mello.
Hello, Mello.
Got the website set up and just ordered new leads. Awesome.
Let's go.
Get it going.
Mm-hmm.
He's pumped. Get it going. Push hard today. Every lead that comes in, you need to jump on right away. If you are marketing, if you're getting leads from marketing, from pay-per-click, from direct mail, from bandit signs, from TV, from radio, from billboards, anytime you've got somebody calling you,
oh yeah,
you need to answer that call live.
Absolutely.
We actually track it every Friday to make sure that we're 90% or above on live calls. And the only reason we're really not is when they come in at like 1 in the morning.
1 in the morning, yeah.
So get it, LO. We're behind you. We are 100% behind you. Howard, I just got a probate house under contract yesterday.
Yes.
I locked it up for too much, so I'm looking to get a price reduction. Well, first of all, here we go.
Okay. Yep. Let's go.
Listen, get the price reduction. See what's going on. Make sure that hopefully it's not too far away from when they take ownership, because it's going to be tough. You know what I mean? Don't wait till the last. Don't do one of those things where, a week before you try to get a price reduction. So, start playing. How would you go about that?
Yeah. So,
I mean, not that we lock up deals too high.
Right. I mean, I don't remember the last time we did, but so I've been implementing this retraining. So you get a price that it's a little too high when you lock it up. And, when you see it and you're looking at the market, you're talking to your buyers and they're telling you exactly what they're going to be able to, purchase it for. I'm calling the owner and I'm going, hey, we're seeing this with this and this, and I just want to let you know, I'm going to push for this price, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea of where we could possibly be, 30 days from now, just letting you know. Okay. All right. I'm still pushing. Okay. And, we keep going down the path. Hey, just letting you know, we had some guys walk in. And so you're setting them up. It's more of a soft reduction as opposed to on that day. Hey, I understand that we're at 320, but we really need to be at 275.
Yep.
Like that kind of push is hard for a homeowner to hear initially. And a lot of times they're going to go, well, no. But if you're setting them up, down the road and you're kind of, hey, just letting you know, when that actual reduction does come into play, like, okay, you did kind of bring this up. I've been thinking about what I'd be okay with. And it just makes an easier conversation.
Get them, Howard.
Yep.
Have that conversation early so that they're not holding on. They've already spent that money. You know what I mean? Go have that conversation. But congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Be curious to know where you found the probate. Let us know. And by the way, guys, if you want to get them absolutely for free, you can go down to the courthouse. You can go down to the probate courts and get that document. Most states, it is public information. And you could get the list and you could just go through it. A lot of time, in a lot of areas too, they have it online. In a lot of states, they have the probate filings online. So you can have a VA go through and scrub through the probates and get you the information, and then you can get a hold of them that way. I want the information now.
Yeah.
I want the list now. And for, the couple $100 that we spend on through US Leads List, it's worth, the time to get it now and to get after it. Because if we can get to that property owner faster, and start initiating those relationships, it's a much more powerful position.
Yeah, for sure.
Adam buys houses. I've been doing probate deals for 6 years. Brent is speaking facts. There's no convincing a family of 7 to sell a house for any price.
Too many personalities there.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's absolutely right. You have to listen. When there are more people and they're all getting a piece of the pie, you need to bring the data to them.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show them this is what it's worth when it's fixed up. This is how much repairs cost it's going to take in repairs to get it up to that standard. This is the as-is price. And you're not convincing them. It's either that makes sense to them or not.
Yep.
So don't try to convince. And then once you start going, if you're really diligent, with going after these inherited properties and these probate properties, and you're just doing it on a daily basis, and you're planting seeds, it's going to open up the floodgates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to start closing deals every single month from inherited properties that for the most part are dated or they're destroyed. You know what I mean? Some people pass away and they own rental properties that have been vacant for years, and then the family's like, I don't know what to do with this. And that really opens up the floodgates. Hence the waterfall that I have here. Look at that.
That's what that's
Boom.
for.
That's
mm-hmm.
what that's for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a metaphor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Metaphor.
Frederick, so glad this is today's topic. I just got off my probate certification last week. Can you unpack how that can leverage my position as a wholesaler versus a real estate agent, or leverage both? That's fantastic, Frederick. So I'm assuming that is your probate certification for just kind of understanding the process and as a real estate agent. You've got 2 paths here, Frederick. What is best for the property owners? Is it best for them to put it on the market, or is it best for them to just sell it cash as is, and they don't have to go and clean up the property? They don't have to be embarrassed about taking pictures and having people tour the property. What is best for them? You have to understand, and it's the same mentality with the family members is, do they want speed and convenience? And if they want speed and convenience, then they're going to have to sacrifice the price. The price is going to have to be lower if they want speed and convenience. It's just that's the facts. But if they don't mind, and they don't mind the inconvenience of cleaning up the property, they don't mind the inconvenience of fixing it up, they don't mind the inconvenience of inspectors going in there, they don't mind the inconvenience of listing it and putting it on the market for a while, then that's the path. Then you go as a listing agent and you get that listing. And it's fantastic that you could do both.
Yeah, that's that initial conversation of what are your goals with the property.
Well, you do that with every.
Yeah, that's the question I always ask. And you're saying, hey, what are your goals?
Yeah.
What do you know about the process of selling a home? They know about the traditional listing. Okay, well, what do you know about that? Have you talked to a realtor? What do you have a timeline? It's like, oh, well, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, I get it. I understand. And then you go on to the next option that they could
Let me ask you this, Ryan. When you ask them their goal, why doesn't everybody just list with a real estate agent?
Well, because
for real.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that are watching and are going to watch this later. And maybe it's the first time that they've seen anything that we've done on this channel. And they're like, why would anybody in their right mind not sell it on the market and get as much for the property as possible?
Well, because there's things that you have to deal with listing a property. You got to fix the house up. You got to make sure it's clean for shows or showings. You have a 60 to 90 day kind of time lapse for financing. You have to pay realtor commissions. There's all these little things that people in their head understand about listing a property. And either, like Brent was saying, you have time and convenience or value.
Yep.
Right. And so you're asking, hey, what's the most important to you? Do you want the most value out of this? And you understand that these are the steps that need to be taken. Okay, cool. Let's look at that. Let's see what we need to do. Oh, okay. The value is important. I get it. You want to get as much as you can, but you don't want to do X, Y, and Z for the listing aspect of things. All right, cool. I have something for that as well. So just understanding where their head is at, where and what kind of effort, energy, money they want to put into the process, and you go from there.
Well, and I think this year has been the most post-possession agreements that we've ever done.
Oh, for sure.
So what happens is somebody wants to sell their property, but they want their money first so that they can, comfortably move and find a new place, or they're relocating, or they just need some time. They just want their money as quick as possible so that they can have that money, and then they can go and move out in a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months. We have a closing that we have a post-possession all the way till August 2nd right now with somebody that is relocating to a different state.
Yep.
And that's a powerful thing. We should probably do a show. Guys, let me know in the comments section if we should do a show on post-possession, because I think it's one of the most powerful.
We have two, one August 2nd and one July 30th.
What about the Chandler one?
That one's actually coming up here.
Yeah, but it's a post-possession.
I think we probably have 4 in post-possession.
Yeah. So, but it's very powerful, and we can really break that down. If you guys need some more information on post-possession, let me know. If you want me to do a show specifically on that, huh? Doing a poll. All right, Alejandro's going to do a poll. Guys, if you're getting value out of this, make sure you hit that like button. That helps the algorithm. That's the only way that YouTube knows that we exist, and that helps grow the community. And the bigger the community, the more connections that you can make during these live shows, which helps out everybody.
Yeah.
Sean, here we go. Got 2 leads I'm working for mailing, driving for dollars. Just got my first word of mouth lead, working 100% paid off, absentee owner, vacant for the last 3 years. Absolutely.
Money.
Come on.
Money.
Sean's an incredible rhino and doing some amazing things, and an agent, I believe.
Awesome.
Stephanie.
Look at Steph.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Closing deal next week, $13,900.
Not surprised.
Stephanie. Not surprised. Hold on. Yeah, no surprise there. By the way, she's got an even better deal that she's closing in a couple weeks or a month.
Okay.
In a different state in Pennsylvania.
Nice stuff.
That's going to be really nice. Garland, myself and my buyer are meeting a seller tomorrow morning to lock up a deal in the Chicago market. Come on, Garland. Come on.
Lock it up.
Absolutely incredible. Tracy, I'm closing a deal next week for a $5,300 assignment. Whoop, whoop. Not a probate, though, LOL. Tracy, on fire.
On fire. Not surprised again. Nice, Trace.
We know Ryan and I have a relationship with a lot of these success stories because we see them on a weekly basis.
Yep.
And it just, nothing is more exciting.
I remember talking to Tracy when she first got on and just like not knowing what she's going to do. She came from like the law enforcement side of things and she's just like, I'm like, listen, you have the mind for this. Let's go. Yep. And she's running wild.
Yep. Well, proof of concept.
Yeah.
Even when you started, you're like, you know what? I want to be good at this, but I've never done anything real estate.
Nothing.
I bought a couple houses, sold a couple houses.
You bought a couple.
Yeah.
He bought and sold my last 3 houses, like my whole life. Yeah.
And so you came into it and you're like, I don't know, I'm just like, Ryan, you got this. Like, here's some tools, here's some things to say, and then you got to do it.
That's literally what he said. He's like, all right, so you have this, and this. Just go. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Listen, I have a theory about acquisition managers. The more that you have to train them, the worse they're going to be.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just have to have natural charisma.
I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Farrell, got my first property locked up in Central Florida looking for a cash buyer.
Ooh.
Farrell, get that deal sold. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing today?
Oh, I'm loving the energy right now.
This is the best day ever. Here we go. Jesse, yes, took vacation all next week to be able to just be on the phones all week. Do it.
Okay.
Jesse, do it. You've got this. He's in Wisconsin,
yeah.
and phenomenal market out there. I've got some great friends, Corey, out there that does $2.5-3 million a year in wholesale and flips, income wise, and I think it's wide open. I think it's wide open in Wisconsin.
Nice,
So
Jess.
stay focused. Make sure that you're taking the action and push yourself further than you thought. Seriously, further than you think you can go. I guess think, not thought. Then you could go and see what happens. It's like running that extra little bit. It's pushing that extra little bit. It's practicing a little bit extra. Whatever your your interests are that you've been really good at. Anything that you've gotten really good at. Any skill that you've gotten really good at. You've had to push yourself. Well, if you push yourself in the skill of finding discounted property, you'll make as much money as you want. You will be a millionaire. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But it's hard. And a lot of people quit because a lot of people are on their little islands by themselves. So number one, you got to find your tribe. You got to find a tribe. You got to find a community that you can connect with. Because if you don't have people supporting you and cheerleading you and lifting you up on the days that you're getting beat up or the days that your expectations are not met, it's very easy to not do this business. It is so easy. It's like quicksand, right? You just gone. That dream of being a real estate entrepreneur, gone, unless you have that tribe around you. And then follow a model. One marketing channel, one exit strategy, one market, and go bananas. And you can't lose. I am telling you, you cannot lose. You just have to push yourself. Cats, what do you say when a seller tells you they're thinking of listing with an agent? Also, in a virtual market, is not seeing a property in person a disadvantage when it comes to probate lists? I'll let you do the first one. I'll do the second.
Yeah, great. Well, how long have you been looking to sell? Have you spoken to a real estate agent yet?
Yep.
All right. What are your goals with the property? Are you familiar with different ways of how you could sell your house? Because some people just don't know. It's like, hey, they call you and they're like, hey, I want to sell my house. Are you an agent?
Yeah.
So you're going through the process of the pros and cons to each thing. Okay, you want to list with an agent. Great. What do you know about that process? And you let them talk. Okay. All right. Have you looked into the investor side of things like cash as is? No. Okay. Well, let me tell you about that. And you're educating them with the options that they have. And at the end of the day, if they're like, well, I really like to just get as much value as I can and so on and so forth. And you go, that's great. And if you have the tools to be able to do that for them in some way, shape, or form, then you can bring that to the table and not lose a deal, but actually still be a resource and purchase it for them in the marketing kind of sense. But you're just finding out exactly what it is that they want to do with the property. Most people just know about listing and working with realtors. So making sure that they understand that there are other options is kind of the go-to with that.
I think you just asked 8 questions. And I want to point that out because that's Ryan. That is how you uncover what are their actual goals with this property. Asking questions and then being quiet, letting them answer, not just assuming everything, not just going, well, this is what we can do for you. And this is how long we've been in business and all these other things. If they ask you, sure, answer the question, but always ask the question. It is a process of discovery.
Right.
What is the pain that this person has? What is the pain that this family has? What is the problem that they're going through with this property right now that they want to trade price for speed and convenience? And if there is none, then refer them to a real estate agent. Simple as that.
Yep.
You're not going to make every deal happen because it's because you want it to, because you're going to manifest it. That's not how it's going to happen. It is a process of discovery to see, can I actually be of service to this property owner? By the way, guys, if you're getting value out of Ryan, put something in the comments. I don't care what it is, whether it be a flame or a 1 or a happy face or a bicep or a rhino
or the middle finger. They have that now. The emoji, the middle finger.
You can?
Yeah.
Is it called an emoji?
Emoji? I enunciate emoji.
The second part of that, if you're in a virtual market, Cats, here's the deal. You will lose deals. You will lose deals if you're in a virtual market. Now, will you lose a tremendous amount of deals? No. Sometimes you lose deals. We were joking about this earlier. Sometimes you lose deals when you are in the market, when you go face to face with them. They like you better over the phone, right? But if you're going to be in a virtual market, you need to master your tone of voice. You need to master your tone of voice, and you need to master the ability to answer questions and then ask a question. That's what you really need to focus in on, is how do I ask better questions? How do I respond with confidence and certainty and likability? And then how do I ask a question to be able to keep this process of discovery going?
And guys, we're in the age of technology right now. We have Zoom, we have iPhones and FaceTime and things of that nature. So why not try to test those things out? People do become more open with a face as opposed to a voice. Now, you can't Zoom with everybody, but if it's an option and you think, hey, this is a good deal and I feel like I need to build more rapport with that, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's set up a Zoom call. I love to have face-to-face conversations with my homeowners just to make sure that we know we put a face to the name and just get more familiar. Like, is that okay with you? I can set it up.
Yep. Jeremy's just texting me right now on Munns Park.
I know.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
What's too bad?
His wife passed.
Who?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Literally right now?
Yeah, just recently.
This is what we're talking. Oh,
I know.
Gosh. Anyway.
Yeah. So I'll call him today. That's really sad.
He's been in our thing for a while.
Yeah, I've been up there. I saw the house. Yeah, I've been talking. Yep. I met his wife.
Yep.
She was sweet. She was down there knitting a blanket for their grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And okay. Anyway.
All right. Kim, hi, Alejandra and Brett. I got a signed contract to. Can we go over it live today and see if it's a good deal? What do you say to property owners when driving for dollars and door knocking? Kim, I would love to. Unfortunately, YouTube really doesn't like us putting property addresses on the live streams or on any of the content unless we actually own it. We're the actual owners on it. So I would love to break it down. If you want to send me a DM, I'll certainly help you out with that at Real Brent Daniels and take a look at it. But first of all, here we go.
Yeah.
Come on, Kim. Number 2, what do you say to property owners when driving for dollars and door knocking? It's the same conversation.
Yeah.
You're just trying to see when they plan on selling that property.
I'm an investor in the area and I'm looking to purchase homes for cash. I just wanted to stop by and talk to you and see if that might be something you're interested in. Yeah,
I'm a local home buyer.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use the word investor. If it kind of puts them on their back foot, or if they think that that means that you're going to give them like, $1,000 for their house or whatever. So I'm a local home buyer. And I really like this neighborhood, and I was just stopping by to see. I know it's random, but I was just stopping by to see, when do you plan on selling this property? Right? Asking those open-ended questions: what, when, how, why, when. Really open up the conversation. And if they go no, you're like, no. To a when question, then you're like, okay, there's nothing here. But if you hit them with a when, it usually opens it up a little bit. Yep. There you go. April, Ryan, do you ever reach out to attorneys for probate leads?
I have not. Really, I haven't really seen a need for it. A lot of times when I'm talking to homeowners, we'll refer them.
That's it.
Yeah, to our probate attorney.
Yep.
And so we have a name that we give them a contact information. Then I'll just keep following up with the homeowner. Be like, hey, have you talked to so and so? Okay, you haven't. Let's we'll reach out to them. Make sure you guys are on the same page and moving forward.
Yeah, it's always good. It is really important to have a probate attorney in your phone for sure, and to be able to refer that over. And what we like doing is we like finding probate attorneys that'll get paid through the closing, so that, because a lot of families don't have the $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 that it takes to hire that attorney, and so. Work with the attorney, talk to the probate attorneys. A lot of them understand, and they'll do the work and get paid through a title and escrow. And for that, sometimes they might just charge the same, or maybe they'll get a premium for deferring it. But either way, it really makes things go a lot smoother, way smoother. Because filling out all the paperwork and going through all that process, it's like crazy. Nobody takes a class on it. You know what I mean? Nobody understands, okay, you got to fill out all these documents and do it perfectly and do all this and then get it in there. So oftentimes there's mistakes, which makes the process longer. So if somebody's in there helping out that does it and gets paid at the end when it sells, that's the best. Pooja, great to see you. Brent, what do you do if during a double closing date after me signing the closing papers and buyer who is supposed to sign 5 minutes after me backs out last minute? Brent, you are the reason I haven't quit wholesaling. Your videos are so motivating and real. They are daily fuel for wholesalers. Thank you, Pooja. That is, I'm going to take that compliment and I'm going to hold on to that. That is amazing. Thank you. Yeah, if your cash buyer backs out at the last minute, unfortunately, I'm going to put this back on you, Pooja. You should have known a day or two in advance, talking with the title company if they have not heard from that buyer or if they've not heard from that lender. Now, maybe something crazy happened. Maybe the lender just shut off their loans. Shut off their pipeline of funds. You know what I mean? But usually you can kind of see these things coming around. Hopefully you didn't close on it with transactional funding and you can get a addendum with the seller and just be honest with them. Whenever we're honest with our sellers, it's the best policy. Listen, we need to extend this because the money just dried up.
Yep.
The money just dried up and we're working to get more money from a different source. But now it's just, we need to be able to, we need to have a little bit of breathing room, or we can cancel it and you can start this process over with somebody else if the trust is lost. But we're really trying hard. And if you talk to the title company, they'll let you know that we're doing everything we can to get this closed. But the lender just stopped lending. It's a very turbulent time with lenders right now. You've got, I mean, you could use, this is what I love about understanding like economics, like our national economics. The debt ceiling, go Google debt ceiling right now. It's a mess. If we don't get it increased by June 1st, it's going to be a real mess. And so a lot of banks are like kind of pausing. They expect that something's going to work out in the government, but they're like also like, I don't want to take a huge bath, a huge loss if for some reason this doesn't get done in a timely manner. So you can have that conversation with them, and maybe that did influence where those funds are coming from. And I would have a conversation with whoever the lender was or whoever the buyer was on that deal. And are they just flaking out because they can't really close? Were they a wholesaler that you sold it to that didn't get it sold and they didn't really do? You know what I mean? Find out what's going on. Try to get an extension. Try to find another buyer. If it's a really good deal, you should be able to replace those buyers in a week or two, and boom, you're getting it closed and you're getting paid and everybody's happy. Yeah. But thank you for the compliment. Listen, it is exciting when people implement what we talk about on this channel because they win. I'm only going to tell you stuff that allows you guys to win. Because what's the point? I'm not going to come up here and tell you theory. We're in this. We do this every single day. This will be our goal this year, is to do more than we've ever done. I'm pushing us to go to $1 million month. With 4 people, that's a very profitable business. Marcellus, Brent, what's been your...
Notice his name, though. Marcellus
Wallace.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Brent, what's been your experience wholesaling in the $1 million price point? My market is SoCal, and I built a Driving for Dollars list only to find out that the vast majority of them end up selling on market in OC. Yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. When you're in Southern California, they understand the values of their property because people have been mailing them offers
forever
since... What was that? 1849, the 49ers, from Central California and San Francisco all the way down to SoCal. I mean, people have been ravenous to live in those areas forever. So they have a lot of different people sending them offers. They have a good idea of what it's worth. You can pretty much give them what it's worth as is, what would show up on Zillow in that area. If it needs renovations, people will buy that. people will buy it and see potential there, and they'll hold on to it for the next 5 years.
Mhm.
They'll sink $1 million, $2 million cash into a property and just hold it there for
Just hold
20
it.
years because they know it's a safe place, especially right now to put money into. You know what I mean? So it's more difficult, but the deals are bigger, and you can give them pretty much what they want, and then bring it to your cash buyers and see if you're too high in your price, and if so, then try to renegotiate.
Yeah, you're paying. You just got to find a pain point on there. If time is of the essence, then listing it just isn't going to be a great deal. So you need to uncover that and see what options. Letting them know what options you can provide for that.
Yep. Charla, once a home seller from a door knocking lead agrees to negotiate, what's the next step? Pre-qualifying.
Yep.
All right. So there's 3 parts to this business, Charla. And I love that you asked this question. Number 1 is lead generation. Number 2 is conversion of those leads into a signed agreement. Number 3 is exit strategy. That's with all real estate. It doesn't matter. This is being a real estate entrepreneur, lead generation, conversion, and exit strategy, right? And so in that middle part, when they agree, you have to pre-qualify. That's the first part. Pre-qualify based on the 4 pillars: condition of the property, timeline to sell, their motivation or what's their problem, and their price. You figure out those 4 things, and you're in a really strong position to understand if you can actually be of service to these property owners. And then from there, you do your lead follow-up, because oftentimes you're not going to knock on a door and they're like, I'm ready to sell right now.
Yeah, pen to paper. Let's go.
Let's go. Give me that contract right now. I'm ready to go. Any price. Let's do this. No. What happens is typically it's 90 days, and in that is follow-up. So there's 3 parts of conversion. First one is pre-qualify. Second one is your lead follow-up. That's where you're staying in front of them and you're getting them to the window is shrinking to when they're going to make a decision. And then you do the offer presentation, which Ryan is the ultimate master in the country. I would put Ryan up against anybody on offer presentations. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, right? Seriously. So then it's the offer presentation, Charlotte. Howard, hey, Brent, the price reduction I need is around $25,000, also in Jacksonville, Florida. Do I try and get the reduction before I send it to the title company? I got 29 days left, known her for 8 months. Thank you. Open escrow right away.
Mm-hmm.
Howard, put it to escrow like the show's over in 7 minutes. Do it then. Like right away. Get it over there. Right? Open up escrow, because you don't know if there's any weird things going on with the title.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if there's other parties involved. You don't know if there's certain liens that they didn't know about that you need to have a conversation with. Imagine this. Imagine you go and you get a $25,000 price reduction, and then they find out from title they have some sort of like lien
or something
for like $15,000 that they forgot about. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean?
You really needed 40,000.
Right.
And having that reduction conversation should only happen once.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And make sure here's the key when it comes to getting a price reduction. You need to have a ready buyer and a price. Because if you go and you're like, oh, I need a $25,000 price reduction, and you don't already have a buyer lined up, and then you try to get it sold and it's still too high, it turns into a nightmare. It turns into a real mess. Not just a mess on the conversations that you're having with the property owner, but just everything.
The timing, everything. Yeah.
Everything. It just mentally, it takes up a lot of your attention, because you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go back. And what do I say? And I got to do this. And then all of a sudden, well, I'll call them at the end of the day. No, I'll call them tomorrow. No, I'll call them the next day. Yep. All of those things stop you from that, like, real positive, optimistic, going out there and putting energy into finding more deals, because your attention is now on this thing that you got to do, and it's going to be painful, and I don't want to do it. And like,
so true.
Just make sure that you have somebody that's ready to buy. You're confident that they will close, and you go and get that price reduction and get it done. And then you can move on to the other deals.
Boom.
Drew, hey, Brent. I keep getting the same objections regarding probate leads. The attorney says it has to sell for 80% of the appraised value. My offers are lower than this 80%. Anyway, around this in Ohio. No, listen, if they got an appraisal done, the property's probably in decent condition and should probably be put on the MLS, Drew. That's probably what you're running into is now listen, if these properties are destroyed and the court's like, it's got to be 80% of this appraised price and it's not even close to what it'll sell for, then, go back and fight with the courts and give them comps and give them, construction bids. You know what I mean? Do an inspection of the property. Let that thick, phone book inspect. People don't know what phone books are, do they?
Not anymore.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Especially Drew, this young man. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Drew, do you know what a phone book is?
Or a rotary
Yellow
phone.
Pages.
Rotary
if I
phone.
say Yellow Pages, what comes to mind?
He's like, when you Google it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just aging ourselves and being old dudes here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, listen, if the courts say you can only sell for a certain percentage of the appraised value, then that's what you either have to negotiate with the court or find properties that they're going to give a accurate appraisal. Good question, though. Mm-hmm. But I've dealt with this. I dealt with this in a deal in Flagstaff, and the courts came in with a higher bid, and I gave them the comps, and I sent pictures in with them, and they reduced it way down. They made, it was a good deal. I don't remember what I made, but it was a good deal. Awesome. Is that it? That's all the questions. Guys, we had a lot of celebrations today. Give it up for Ryan in the comments section, guys. Hit that like button. I don't know. Do likes during a live show count? I don't know. If you're watching this later, hit the like button if you're getting value. And certainly if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you subscribe. We put out unbelievable instruction every single day. And I will say that pridefully because we put a lot of heart and a lot of experience. Yeah. I've been doing this business since 2004. And I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen different strategies. I lost $1 million when I was 26 in 30 days. Like that. I understand how powerful it is to start your business wholesaling real estate so that you don't have tremendous risks, so that you can be like a jet ski in the ocean as opposed to like a big, cruise ship. When a big storm comes, you can move around, you can navigate a lot faster. If you're starting to wholesale, you don't have the tremendous amount of risk. You don't have to go through licensing school in a lot of areas, although I encourage it just because it gives you a lot of different opportunities if you are licensed, but you don't have to start with that. This business is incredible. This business is literally one conversation away from changing your life. I have Ken Jones here, who is out of Atlanta, and he just got a deal for $145,000, and he's got offers right now at $225,000, and it should be closer to $250,000, $275,000.
Talk about life changing.
One conversation. One conversation.
They're out there.
Young man, didn't grow up in real estate. Wasn't surrounded by family that owns tremendous amount of real estate and rentals and knows and has this high financial IQ. He's doing it all himself, doing this business right here, picking up the phone, having quality conversations, making offers on properties that are in rough shape that need some love. And he's changing his life, and everybody can. And there's so many people in the chat here that have already done it and that'll support you. So make sure that you're squatting up. Yep. Make sure that you find your tribe, find your community. Make sure that you follow the model, follow whatever model it is that you can be consistent with. Do your first deal, right? That's going to get you that proof of concept. Then go full-time, fire your boss, go full-time in there, build the consistency in here, and then hire people that are way better at than you at certain parts of the business. And that's the path. That's the path. And then from there, guys, you take all those profits and you start buying rental properties and you start opening up and really getting into being a real estate investor. But start out as a real estate entrepreneur. Use it as a cash machine to go and buy those rentals so that you don't make a tremendous amount of mistakes or buy during the wrong market or buy with the wrong interest rates or buy in the wrong area. You get to sit back and see every mistake that everybody makes as a wholesaler. Not as a wholesaler. As a wholesaler, you get to see all the mistakes that other people make trying to be real estate investors. I'm telling you, It's going to make sure that you don't pay a tremendous amount in the stupid tax. And trust me, the stupid tax is very costly. And that's the show. Let's bring everybody up. Alejandra, Matt, Ryan, come on this screen. We love you guys. We support you guys. We'll see you next week. Make sure that you subscribe on behalf of Ryan and Alejandra and Matt. We love you guys. Remember, keep your house clean, your actual house and this house, right? Protect your health and increase your value to the world. You'll live an incredible life. Love you guys. See ya.